going there. Okay. Leave it right there. Check. Check 1 2. Check 1 2. Check 1 2. Check. Check 1 2. Check. Check 1 2. Check. All right. It's a little bit better. Thank you. Yeah. Okay. Okay, Thursday edition of the After Show. Got Wink and Justice with you. Wink over here on the East Coast.
And Justice on the West Coast. Thank God it's Giovedi.
Heck yeah.
Oh, yes. Thank God. Thank God. We've made it to Thursday. We honor Thursday because Thursday is, of course, named after the great god Job. And the great god Job is honored for being truly the gateway to the weekend.
Heck yeah.
Hey, Wink. How are you doing?
Not bad, not bad. It is 71 and sunny out there. And actually, that's going to be about the high for the day. It's going to go up to maybe 72, 73. So we're cooling off, getting into that cool September season. I think our 80-degree days are over. But they were nice while they lasted, I got to say. Reminder to get in the chat. Just go to netrootsradio.com. Scroll down the bottom of the page, and on the right-hand side of the bottom of the page, there is a link to the chat. So click that and join us there.
And as the fates would have it, as well as great graphic design, just to the left of the chat room link, in the general area on the left side of the page, at the bottom there is the Contribute Donate button.
Yes.
And we're unable to do this without you. But I have to tell you, even more important than, well, I guess, what's more important than paying the bill so that the lights are on? Well, we do that. But there's something that we do to pay the bills so that we can do something a little bit more elevated, and that is get out the vote.
Yes.
Our page is dedicated to get out the vote, so links galore. Let's just put it that way. All right. Link here along the banks of the Rogue River Valley of Southern Oregon. It is currently 52 degrees. Expected high of 71. Overcast. Slight chance of rain.
Yeah, you got about the same as we do. Yeah.
So I'm looking at the radar and satellite images, and there seems to be some cells, and it looks like it's right over me right now. So,
okay,
literally and virtually.
Yeah.
So
there we go.
I gotta mow the lawn. There's all sorts of things I need to do.
There's stuff to do. I know. Yeah.
Well, I need to mow the lawn because I need to feed it for the fall.
There you go.
And we have these cooler days. I couldn't do it when we were in the 90s, potential hundreds.
No, not at all.
Even if I did it the cool of the morning, it would burn up in the afternoon.
Yeah.
So having these, low mid 70 days and cooler nights, this is the time.
Exactly.
But really rain here is different than what rain is in elsewhere in the nation. I mean, what we call rain, other people would call what we have sometimes as rain. We call it as a sprinkle.
Yeah.
That kind of thing. Other people go, that's a rain. That's a sprinkle. So I think at most we'll get a sprinkling, which isn't even consonant. It'll be like little cells come through, drop some mist, open up the foliage, and you smell them all. It's just lovely. But I still need to do some work on the yard.
Right.
Okay. Enough of that. Continuing escalation in Charlotte over I'll just call it the murder of a father waiting for his kid to come home from school.
Yep.
By jump out boys, undercover agents, serving warrants. Well, at least they're not coming in as SWAT teams. But actually they are coming in as SWAT teams. They're jump out boys. And apparently anybody who's in their way is going to get shot because, that's collateral damage.
Exactly.
I mean, we're in a war and people are going to have to die. It's sad, but it has to be done. I think maybe that's one mindset. Another mindset, it doesn't matter about the people who are sitting around there. They're all complicit in this, I don't know, whatever it is that they're doing that we hate, and we have to make them be punished. So here, this is the other thing that gets me. He had a gun. Excuse me, North Carolina's an open carry state.
Yeah.
Well, we know what it's about. Propane Jane was right when she reminded us, I think a year ago, when some other instances of black men getting gunned down and then finding out that what the police said happened and what actually happened were completely the opposite. And that is that our constabulary, which is a nice way of calling our police force a slave patrol. The way that we police had its beginnings in the slave patrols.
Yeah.
I guess that's kind of hard to get away from. That's a rant. Well, it's not only Charlotte. It's also, in Tulsa, which also has a long history of this type of thing going on, except long before even the Civil Rights Movement. In fact, since Reconstruction.
There you go.
I don't know. I guess if it's baked in, it's hard to get rid of. All right. Enough of a Thursday rant. What are we going to attend to today? Well, I'll let you know. These are the stories we'll be addressing, and they are. Citizens of Roseburg, Oregon, Wink, you'll love this, freak out. This is at a city council meeting. This is just down the road from me. Okay, citizens of Roseburg, Oregon, freak out over an astrology class, fearing it will lead to satanic baby sacrifices and palm-reading gypsies. I don't know which is worse.
Yeah. The
baby sacrifice or the palm-reading gypsies. I'm not kidding. Evangelicals in Cleveland, Ohio, lay hands on Donald Trump to protect him from a concentrated satanic attack. Because that happens in politics now. Erode the separation of church and state. The next thing you know, the devil takes over.
Yeah.
I told you. And the infamous "You Deserve Rape" campus preacher is arrested in Tucson, Arizona for kicking a woman in the chest. It sounds like I'm making it up. All right. I'm not. But on the last half, we're going to report that the economists who did not see the big crash of 2008 coming still don't know what happened or how to fix it. But trust me, they'll be relied upon to give advice to people in leadership positions. Because, I don't know, it's hard to get rid of them.
Oh, yeah.
Hard to get rid of things. Well, get this. Ignoring a new White House report on forensics, the U.S. Attorney General and the nation's top prosecutors will continue to rely on bogus junk science. Because of astrology is being debated in a city council meeting because of the fear of satanic baby sacrifices. I don't know. You might as well burn some hair and determine a person's guilt by the smell. Wink, help me.
Well, yeah, I don't know what to say. I don't know. I'm kind of dumbfounded, I guess. I don't know.
Out of that stupor is we're going to have that plus the Connect, Unite, Act Daily Coast community calendar and even more on the after show with that ever so fine fellow over there on the East Coast. His name is Wink, and this guy back over here on the West Coast, my name is Justice, and we do this 5 days a week for an hour-ish in this time period because who loves you, baby?
Exactly.
All right. Did you know you can turn your ads on and off on the Daily Coast page with Daily Coast 5?
Oh, okay.
I mean, just so you know.
Yeah.
I mean, well, for those who have, I guess, got a subscription, they can do that.
Yeah.
But, if you have a subscription, sometimes it's good to turn on the ads because, the site does need some revenue.
Yeah,
you don't
absolutely.
need. Yeah. So, at first I thought because I had the ads on for a little bit, that's why the page was truncated, and the way that I try to set up the page, everything gets pushed up like in columns.
Right.
And, and so they're really out of place visually and logically about where a particular text is supposed to be aligned with a particular image.
Exactly.
So I need to talk to tech about that. Support. And they're there.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah. All right. Ooh. Riots in the streets, buddy.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
and
looking more like 1968 here. So yeah.
Real quick, okay. I mean, this was my complaint when Michael Brown got killed. It's been my complaint about a lot of different cities. Some don't react this way, but most do. By all accounts, a innocent person is mistakenly killed. And the citizenry is outraged. But instead of saying, you know what, bad on us, we made a mistake, we're going to have to hold people accountable, we're going to have a trial, they bring out the army and say, shut the F up. Do not tell us what to do and when we're going to do it. And I think that's supposed to engender goodwill in the citizenry for some reason, right? From a particular mindset who believes that only force will be able, will be the agent in which to affect the facility that we expect. When everybody knows that if you want a docile population, you give them what they want, fatten them up, give them a TV, and then eat them when they're dead.
Heck yeah.
Okay? Jeez. If you're going to use the citizenry for your own nefarious purposes, you might as well do the efficient thing. God darn it. Wink. Hey, did I say that you folks can get our pods at iTunes and Stitcher, and Podbean will be posted later?
Yeah, Spreaker.
Spreaker, I'm sorry, yeah. Spreaker.
Yeah, Spreaker.
Well, what about Stitcher? Stitcher's doing our live show.
Yeah, I believe we're just running our live.
All right.
But Spreaker, yeah, it's like speaker with an R. Speaker with an R, that's all. Spreaker. There you go.
Yeah, a listener queried about that.
Yes. We're just juggling too much right now with the election season and something has to give. That's all.
I'll just say quickly that a listener queried about that, and I mistakenly put down Stitcher when I meant Spreaker.
There you go. Yep. So if you go to Spreaker and look for Netroots Radio, everything's right there.
Perfect.
You're good to go.
Perfect. Okay, this first story is by Arturo Garcia out of Raw Story. An Oregon woman's request to teach an astrology class in her town touched off fears of spiritual upheaval among her fellow residents at a local council meeting, the Roseburg News Review reported. These are my neighbors. It would probably make a lot of money, but is it uplifting to the community? Asked one man, identified as Jim Garrett. Does it in any way represent what the community has stood for all these years? No, and neither does the occult.
Indeed.
Okay. Now, let me just say one thing. Astrology is fun for entertainment purposes only. All right? There's actually, I'll just give a little bit of background. One of the reasons that the city council meeting is being held is that you're not supposed to be able to use like carnival barker, storefront, things like palm readers and fortune tellers, and the use of junk science, like come in here and have a low-level bit of electricity go through your hands and you can talk to your ancestors who are dead.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So the state said, you can't use, quote, bogus junk science.
Right. Right.
Unscientific things to make money. Well, I guess that would include a lot of different kinds of religions too, you would think. But that only goes so far because, okay. But what this has morphed into is, well, our snake biting rituals at the local Grange Hall is okay.
Right.
But a palm reader isn't. Right? So what these council meetings are coming to now is like, isn't this thing about what's, junk science and whatnot, isn't it antiquated? I mean, this is America. People want to be entertained. All right. So if they're entertained by going to the horse track, or if they're entertained by having their palms read, what's the big deal?
Yeah, exactly.
Right. But I just love the overreaction. Oh, no, if we have a palm reader come in here, next thing you know, you're going to have baby sacrifices, and they're testifying as if this was like a real thing. Like, I suppose if you're seeing scary clowns on the edge of a forest all over the eastern seaboard, you would probably think baby sacrifices are a feasible reaction to.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
What has America come to, or as I should would be more apt, is why hasn't America evolved beyond this? I mean, this is Salem witch trial bullshit.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, pretty much, yeah.
Some people are being poisoned by fermented ergot and, from their wheat supply, and they're having a poisonous reaction that gives them hallucinations, so they must be witches. Instead of the fact that they were storing their wheat improperly.
Indeed.
Well, let's blame it on the devil. Yeah, let's blame it on the devil. Why did you store that stuff so people would be poisoned? I don't know. I try to be reasonable. I do. Okay. I love this. Now we're on the national scale. This is by T-Bug, or as we like to call him around here, the Great T-Bug.
Yeah.
Appearing at a Christian gathering in Cleveland on Wednesday, GOP presidential nominee Donald Trump was put under the protection of God by a bevy of evangelicals after the host of the conference said the New York businessman needed to be protected from a concentrated satanic attack. Little do they know the concentrated satanic attack actually is manifested within Donald Trump himself. In certain evangelical Pentecostal circles, you know what that's called, Wink? Who that person's called?
What's that?
Well, wouldn't he be called the Antichrist?
Yeah, there you go.
There you go.
Yeah.
All right. They just don't see it. And that's exactly how the Antichrist does it. If you delve into certain evangelical Pentecostal beliefs that have seeped into the mainstream of America. Satanic baby sacrifices, scary clowns on the forest edge. Hansel and Gretel. Yep. After Trump addressed a few African-American pastors and a whole lot of white people at the Midwest Vision and Values Pastor Leadership Conference, pro-Trump pastor and co-host of the event, Darrell Scott, took the mic. Speaking to the attendees, Scott claimed that a nationally known but unidentified preacher had forewarned Trump that if you choose to run for president, there's going to be a concentrated satanic attack against you. In video, I think the concentrated satanic attack worked, but I got to tell you, it was kind of like when he was a little kid and he decided to follow his dad's racist practices about how to deal business and how to skim the cream off the top and use government contracts to, sort of like pad your pocket.
Yes, indeed. Yeah.
Okay. Uh-huh. I think the concentrated satanic attack was then.
Yeah.
It didn't just happen.
Right.
Okay. And I'm just saying, you got turned to the dark side.
Absolutely, yep.
Wouldn't it be weird if we had a new Star Wars and like Trump as Luke? And then the mask gets taken off and it's Trump's dad.
Yeah, it'd be a little scary, yeah.
Wouldn't that be scary? Oh my God. Well, there's not much to say about this except that, obviously people laid hands on him. Yeah, when I was a little kid, they used to have like black and white, I guess early Saturday mornings, but a little kid in Oregon before we moved to Southern California. And I would sometimes watch Oral Roberts, like early on a Saturday or Sunday morning. I can't remember when it was. It was definitely the weekend.
Right.
But like way before the rest of the family got up. So I'm just like a little kid, probably not even started. I think I first noticed it even before I started school.
Right.
And TV wasn't really a big thing in my family because reception was so poor. normally where we lived, because we lived either in the mountains or in a valley somewhere where we just didn't get good reception with our rabbit ears or even our aerials. So there was only certain channels you could get. And even on those channels, sometimes during the day, they would peter out. And you know, that was it, right? But Oral Roberts was all you could count on him. The signal was strong, right? And he used to do this thing about, you know, putting hands on people and curing them of whatever ailment they had. And they'd jerk around and stuff, and he'd go, you know, he'd pull his hands back in a dramatic fashion, like he was shocked too, and somewhat, and you know, the magnetic forces of that energy, you know, like pushed them away suddenly, right?
Yep.
And you know, it was all the Hail Jesus and all that kind of stuff, and everybody be astounded. And as a little kid, you know, I went back and forth between what a bunch of fakery to that's kind of cool. You know, could you do that to somebody? Could you actually do that? And the fervor in which the people, you know, actually believe.
Had to be a paid audience or something. That's what I'm thinking. Oh, lost justice. Okay. Oh, we got. Okay. We're good. Lost sound somewhere though. Try to fix that. Yeah, attempting to connect here. See what we can do. Lost him again. Okay, yeah, we'll give it another shot. Skype issues as usual. It's just you know, same old. Yeah, I'm thinking paid audience though for that. For those kind of quote unquote church services, I guess. I don't know. Never could really figure that out. I never could figure out the I don't know, I guess the draw to that. I don't know. Some people do it, I guess. Okay, let me try this. Okay, not gonna work. Yeah, he could be having internet issues too because he's got construction there. So could be that. Could just be that. Never know. Let me check this too. Make sure we got. Okay. Yeah. All right. Guess I'll have to use that. I guess we'll use that way. Okay. Not my favorite mode. Let's put it that way. Get this going here too. There we go. What to do? Moment yourself. So we get this sort of maybe possibly straightened out. Jen Hayden has a story on the front page. Clinton shines on the always awkward Between Two Ferns with Zach Galifianakis or something like that, I guess it is. And one of the questions, of course, is any regrets over losing the Scott Bio vote? I'm guessing probably not. As secretary, how many words per minute could you type? I'd love to meet the person who makes your pantsuits. Hillary said, oh, really? Yeah, because for Halloween I wanted to go as a librarian from outer space. Yeah. Yeah. Have you thought about what you're going to be wearing at the debates? There's one thing called the double standard. So I think I'm about what the first woman in nominee should wear at the debate. I guess you're going to go with a pantsuit. Do you wonder what your opponent might be wearing? I assume he'll wear, the usual red power tie, or maybe like a white power tie. That's even more appropriate, possibly. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think so. I don't think that's going to happen. Trump County Chair in Ohio says, I don't think there was any racism until Obama got elected president of the United States. Then all of a sudden we got this racism thing going. There's just not enough. Let's put it this way: Donald Trump's base is pretty narrow, so it's just not enough width there, breadth there, whatever I call it. There's just not enough base there to get him over the top. Hillary's got this thing wrapped up pretty good, I think. Despite the, everybody said, oh, it's close race, blah, blah, blah. It's not that close. She's going to be close to a double-digit win when this thing is all over, I think. I don't think there was any racism until Obama got elected. This is a woman who went to high school in the 60s. Segregation, civil rights, remember that? I never experienced it. I never saw that as anything. Peaceful marchers were having their heads bashed in. Bull Connor was turning fire hoses and attack dogs on children. But this woman never saw that as anything and believes racism originated with the election of Barack Obama. Yeah, that's probably it right there. It's probably when it initiated. Yeah, I don't know. Went to school in the 60s. I don't know. I went to school in the 60s, so I do remember the days. Although, you're not really, it's on the TV and everything, but you're just kind of, okay, that's kind of what's going on, but it's not really, I got homework to do, I got, this to do, and yada, 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 and you're not really paying that close attention to that stuff. Until you get maybe I don't know, maybe 11th grade or so. Possibly got Justice back.
Sorry.
Yes, there we go.
We've been off the air for a little bit here.
Oh, okay. Sorry. All right, okay.
Let me get the URL back in because it went past into some music stuff. Hold on. 94. There, that's right.
Okay.
Hold on. I'm sorry.
Not a problem.
We had just like a bump on the power.
Yeah.
But it threw the modem out, and I had to reset the modem, and it took a couple of times before it would take. So
Right.
Sorry about that. Okay, here we go. All right. Do you have music up or just us?
I got nothing, but I can put music up. Yeah.
Okay, well, we're coming in right now.
Okay, all right. Okay.
I see nothing on our meters, though.
Yeah, we should have something going there. It might take a second or two.
Unfortunately, I'm not counting even. I wonder if I have to reset stuff on the Mac now. Damn, I'm so sorry, man. This is not supposed to be happening, even though they're in the transition of getting it fixed.
Yep. That's all right.
Damn it. Yeah, nothing's happening on the Mega Seg.
Not getting anything? Okay.
I mean, I was pumping out. Are you turned on?
Yeah, I am.
Because I'm broadcasting from my thing, but the live feed's not working.
Weird. You might have to reset Mega Seg.
Maybe, you know what else? Maybe it's 54, not 94.
Okay. All right.
Let me try that. Hold on. 54. Yeah, let me try 54. Maybe that's who. Do you remember what Ox 2 is at 54 or 94?
For the, I don't know. I have that number code in there.
Okay, hold on. Let me just try it.
Okay.
Oh, we should have had music up or something.
I got music playing, but may not.
Okay, we are. Okay, we're counting. You said you have music up?
Yep.
Okay, good, because we're on.
Okay, all right.
All right. All right. Here, let me just check real quick.
We've been live. But,
okay. I thought we were behind the curtain.
No.
Okay, sorry, folks.
But we're just live right now, so.
Oh, okay. No, I just turned on the monitor. It sounds like stuff that we were talking about is over the live air.
Oh, okay.
So,
weird.
All right. Yeah, we're trying not to have live mics.
Yes.
Hot mics like that. But, okay. Well, folks, if you mess around with the devil and with God, I guess things can happen. And I have no idea. We had a little pop of a power outage, and it threw the modem out of whack, and I was... I had to get it reconfigured. I don't know why. I mean, usually just unplugging it, waiting, 30 seconds, plugging it back in is enough.
Right.
Then it goes through its cycle, but I couldn't get, all 4 green lights and the blinking one. So I had to go through some processes. I am so sorry.
We get the glitches every now and then. So.
All right. So let's see. Oh, hold on. I just went past the last story that we're going to go through. Is quite short, and then we'll just go to our Gem Hightower break. But they haven't voted on whether they'll have palm readers, astrologers, and because you never know when the satanic baby sacrifices will start occurring. And apparently they haven't heard of the scary clowns. We could have added the scary clowns to the whole fear-mongering, too.
Heck yeah.
All right. So this next story is by Brad Reed from Raw Story as well. And this fellow, I don't know if we've actually reported on this fellow, but I've certainly noticed him, reports about him for a bit. So a controversial campus street preacher who has long told women that they deserve rape for wearing yoga pants.
Oh, okay. Yes.
Okay, it's not just, generally because, you get to vote and smoke cigarettes and drink and carouse and, be a human being.
Right.
Go to sporting events, make decisions about your property.
Right.
Not that.
It's the yoga pants, yeah.
All right. Well, he was this week for kicking a woman in the chest. Well, that's one way to get your point across, isn't it? The Tucson News Now reports that Dean Frederick Saxton, also known as Brother Dean, was arrested this week for assaulting a University of Arizona student during one of his sermons. Rants out on the street corner. In addition to facing assault charges for kicking the woman, Saxton has been banned from the university's campus for a full year. Well,
right.
Maybe they could ban him from the campus by having him behind bars. And in fact, isn't there a particular county where they dress you in pink underwear and put you out in a tent? He could have a tent prison revival. I think they already have those. The woman who got kicked in the chest by Saxton wrote on Twitter after the incident that it was completely worth getting kicked if it meant she and her fellow students didn't have to deal with this preaching for at least another year. Yeah, I bet. I lived in Berkeley. Other students celebrated the arrest and posted videos of Brother Dean being put into handcuffs on social media. And go to my show notes and go to the link and you'll have some guffaws galore. All right, let's go to our Gem Hightower break. We'll try to figure out what the hell is going on. And then we'll come back and go through the Connect Unite Act Daily Coast Community Calendar in the last half. You are listening to the After Show by the grace of God.
Yes.
On Netroots Radio, actually. And We will be right back.
Heather Bresch regards herself as a self-made corporate success story. A woman who came out of hardscrabble, West Virginia, and scrambled to the top as CEO of Mylan, a leading pharmaceutical corporation. As she puts it, there is a work ethic and grit about West Virginia that allows me to help make a difference. Well, yes, grit, hard work, and being the daughter of the state's former governor and current U.S. Senator Joe Manchin III. Take the MBA degree she got from West Virginia University, an academic credential bestowed on her 10 years after she left the school, having completed only about half of the coursework required to get a degree. The state university later conceded that Bresch was awarded the MBA because her father was governor at the time, overseeing the school's budget. It's this sort of ethical grit that Mylan's chief exec has employed to pick the pockets of thousands of vulnerable customers who rely on EpiPen, the life-saving medical treatment for deadly allergies that her corporation monopolizes. She has ruthlessly hiked the price of EpiPen by some 600%, while jacking up her own multimillion-dollar annual pay by nearly 700%. She certainly is helping to make a difference, by helping herself, that is. Bresch's greed has sparked a furious public backlash, but several top advocacy groups for allergy patients are curiously silent about her gouging of EpiPen patients. Why? Perhaps because she has doled out millions of dollars in, quote, partnership grants to them, effectively buying their allegiance. This is Jim Hightower saying, meanwhile, Congress does nothing, for Mylan and Big Pharma are major campaign donors. So you see, it's not grit and the work ethic that makes today's drug makers so rich. It's their unrestrained greed, bribery dollars, and systemic ethic of corruption.
If you'd like more of Jim Hightower's real populism, check out the Hightower Lowdown. Jim's monthly newsletter gives you the real lowdown on which corporations, by name, are doing what to the middle class, our environment, and our democracy. Each month, the Hightower Lowdown brings you facts you didn't know, along with actions you can take to fight back. It also comes with a sense of humor. Hightower believes we can fight the gods and still have fun. Plus, get this, it's cheap. Only $15 brings you 12 issues a year. For real populism, go to hightowerlowdown.org.
Powered by Unity Networks. You are listening to networksradio.com.
Please hang up and try again.
From a point at sea to the circles of your mind, a new force is at work for planetary transformation. New radio for a new Earth.
Okay, we're back.
And indeed, we are back, and thank you for sticking with us. This is the After Show with Lincoln Justice. Justice here along the banks of the Rogue River in the Rogue River Valley of Southern Oregon on the West Coast. Week is in upstate New York 21 on the East Coast. Our crew, of course, are the ethereal creatures who reside in the cloud whose advanced intergalactic technical abilities, allow Networks Radio to span the globe, the universe, and beyond. And though they don't have any power to overcome the unact of God, which is here in the virtual reality that we exist in, is what the service provider says that you are allowed.
Yeah, exactly.
That is the act of God.
Indeed, yeah.
Okay, today's Act Daily Code's community calendar is facilitated, as it is every Thursday, by Paradise 50, and he has a rundown about all the great things that are happening in Chico. And when I say great things, I mean businesses who decide to set up shop in that area of California for quality of life issues, not just to make money.
Yeah, not bad. How about that?
And it's a great rundown. And and then, of course, these are companies who are interested in, not poisoning the planet, for instance. Isn't that something?
Right.
Because they also found out, there's money to be had in not poisoning the planet.
It's amazing, yeah.
It astounds. Who would have been... I mean, it just wouldn't have come to people naturally.
Right.
Right. So, no. So I actually like Chico. That was, well, Paradise is where the group I was affiliated with back in the day. That's where they were from, Cottonmouth. But really, they were known as a Chico band. Though on the national stage, we were always known as a San Francisco band. Isn't that weird?
Yeah.
How that worked. Now, we did have a practice studio in Santa Rosa, and we also had a studio in San Francisco. So maybe that had something to do with it. But they were really a Chico Paradise band when it was all said and done. And I love Chico. I ran into John Gardner at Chico State when he was still alive and was able to pick his brain a little bit. And, John Gardner, of course, being the author of Grendel, which is the alternative story to Beowulf.
Ah, there you go.
So was always intrigued by his writing and his technique. And, so he was very accommodating. I just dropped in during office hours. I announced that I'd like to sit down with him. I wasn't a student. He said, sure. Very accommodating. And, there were other aspects about Chico that were appealing back in the day. We'll just say that it encompassed the main elements of rock and roll.
Yeah.
So there was two elements and then rock and roll, and that was in abundance in Chico. So, and when you're a young rock and roller, I suppose you do what seems to have worked for others. I guess
there you go. Yeah.
All right. So the only event, of course, is the one coming up in October in Asheville,
right,
North Carolina. Isn't that something?
Yeah, that place
right?
is
not too far from Charlotte.
No,
when as the crow flies.
Right.
And they're going to be meeting up on Monday, October 24th from 12 to 6 p.m. To support Reverend Barber and the week that early voting starts. And there's some upheaval in that area. And I would say, when I say upheaval, I mean, not in Asheville itself, but just the general political climate. So I think it's important that we get out the vote, because the alternative, I don't want to think about the alternative.
Right.
Get arguments from people who purport to be progressives or are voting for Trump. I go, yeah, right. You were never a progressive. It was a nice label. It rolled off the tongue.
Yeah, there you go.
But you can't be a progressive and say, I'm going to go for Trump. Right? Wink. Yeah. How is it possible?
I don't know.
Okay, so we're going to go to a restaurant to be determined. There is a link at the Connect Unite Act Daily Coast Community Calendar Diary, and I have a link on the show notes for you to go there too. Randolph is usually the point person on that, and I would suggest that if you're in the area, it's even if you're not, we need to support as much as possible.
Yeah, check it out, definitely.
Now, one other thing I need to mention, and I was trying to get the diary up, but there is a Kickstarter campaign, and Angela Marks, running for office in the state of Washington, by the way, had a diary out in support of Sarah R., who does the quilts for people. And Sarah R. is having a Kickstarter campaign in which to, we'll get into more about the why, but I would suggest that maybe we might want to support Sarah R. for all the good work that she's done.
Heck yeah.
And if you're not familiar with, the quilt projects, well, it's hard to believe that you wouldn't. I mean, she's been doing it for ever.
Yeah, forever. I think, yeah, pretty much. Going back a long ways.
Try to set up a little, we'll talk to her a little bit tomorrow, I hope, if she's available. If not, we'll give you more information about how to support Sarah R. and her Kickstarter campaign. So that is your Connect Unite Act Daily Coast Community Calendar for Thursday, September 22nd of 2016.
Yeah, yeah.
So now we're in what's left of the last half. measurements, time is all relative, right? In the expanding and the contracting universe, it's all relative. So in one plane of existence, 15 minutes could be 30.
Yeah. Yep.
And another plane of existence, 15 minutes could be 7.5.
Oh, absolutely.
You never know. It's more fun to think like that than satanic sacrificial babies.
Yes, yes.
And you know what cracks me up about Satanism is that actually it's not about satanic baby sacrifices. It's about honoring, the planet and the earth and the spirit that drives the soil and the trees, and it's about life, right?
Yeah.
And it only got this satanic moniker because one of the personages that was depicted was like Pan, a satyr type thing, melding of the earth with our intellect or passion. And I guess that was in a world of disorder. And you're trying to put order to things, well, you're not going to allow, these disorderly forest religions to exist anymore. You can't have it. And so you say it's a struggle between good and evil. And what is evil? Well, how about this? We'll make a flag. And that flag will represent evil, and this flag will represent good. And we'll bow down to these flags, and after a while, the flag itself acquires some sort of power. It doesn't really have power, it's just what we've given it, the story behind it. And that's how we get Goldsteins, from 1984. A personage with this backstory that never existed. It's just a made-up story, but now it does exist, and it has power, only from what we give it. So I don't know. It just kind of cracks me up how all that works.
Yeah.
Well, speaking about not being able to see the tea leaves, not being able to go to the Oracle in Athens, not being able to get the little methane gas high and, foretell the future.
Yeah.
This next story is by Dean Baker. Yes, that Dean Baker. And this particular story originally came out of Truth Out, but I'm getting it from Alternet. All right. Last week marked the 8th anniversary of the collapse of Lehman Brothers. 8 years, Wink.
Yeah. It seems like yesterday, pretty much, yeah.
The huge Wall Street investment bank. This bankruptcy sent financial markets into a panic, with the remaining investment banks like Goldman Sachs and Morgan Stanley set to soon topple. The largest commercial banks like Citigroup, we always called it Shitty Group.
There you go.
And Bank of America were not far behind on the death watch. The cascade of collapses was halted when the Fed and Treasury went into full-scale bailout mode. They lent trillions of dollars to failing banks at below-market interest rates. They also promised the markets that there would be no more Lehmans, or Lehmans.
Yeah.
To use former Treasurer Secretary Timothy Geithner's term. Yes, that Timothy Geithner. Where's he working now? Yeah, the bank. This promise was incredibly valuable in a time of crisis. It meant that investors could lend freely to Goldman and Citigroup without fear that their loans would not be repaid. They had the Treasury and the Fed standing behind them. The public had every right to be furious about this set of events 8 years ago, as well as what happened subsequently. First, everything about the crisis caught the country's leading economists by surprise. Well, I should say Paul Krugman was talking about this in 2004. Because I was hot and heavy in the real estate business. Oh, sure, in an ancillary satellite industry of it. But, we were kind of like the fish following the big fish, and we're cleaning up. We're picking on the scales. Right? Yeah. So I was doing staging and all sorts of stuff. But really, we were just kind of like the little fish, cleaning the fungus off the big fish, in essence. We were dependent on that big fish. And Krugman, as early as 2004, was saying, there's a housing bubble going on right now. And it's going to pop. And it was right there on the radio, NPR, before NPR changed. Notice Krugman doesn't get on NPR much anymore, does he? Of course, I don't listen to NPR very much since the Kochs took it over, so there's that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, first, everything about the crisis caught those leading economists by surprise. Somehow, the country's leading economists could not see an $8 trillion housing bubble, nor could they understand how its collapse would seriously damage the economy. And it's funny because I brought this up with friends. Yeah, sure, they were in the real estate business. And normally they were the types that would say, you get in when the getting is good, and when the getting's bad, you got to get out. And they're going, oh no, this is great. We got to perpetuate this. Like we sell a house, we're $100,000 now, and 6 months later we'll be listing it and it'll be $200,000. And they were right. It kept happening like that. It was trebling even. Cash, all cash. $350,000 homes are now $800,000.
Yeah,
that's going to keep perpetuating. And I asked, what's going to happen when all that collapses? It won't ever collapse. And these are people who go, get in when the getting's good and get out.
Yeah.
Right? Okay.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
This bubble's clearly driving the economy prior to the crashes. It is difficult to envision what these economists thought would replace the demand lost when the bubble burst. The immediate fallout from the collapse of Lehman also caught the Fed and Treasury by surprise. Having made the decision to allow the market to work its magic on a major bank, they apparently did not anticipate the consequences. They should have tried baby sacrifices. Maybe that would have turned it, Wink.
Might have done it.
Yeah. Jeez. Well, I guess that's next.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Okay. The Fed and the Treasury later cooked up the excuse that they lacked the legal authority to save Lehman, as though someone would have brought a lawsuit to stop them if they had tried.
Right.
Having failed to recognize both the risks of the bubble and the consequences of the Lehman collapse, the Fed and Treasury then pulled out all the stops to keep the big Wall Street banks in business. They said this was necessary to prevent another Great Depression. It is difficult to see how letting the market work on Wall Street would have condemned us to a decade of double-digit unemployment. Would fiscal and monetary stimulus no longer work? Well, you got to get, I suppose, the fiscal and monetary stimulus, right?
Heck yeah.
To support the second Great Depression myth, a paper from Alan Blinder and Mark Zandi, two of the country's most prominent economists, tried to show how we would have had a decade of double-digit employment without the Wall Street bailout. In fact, the paper shows nothing of the sort. It shows that we never took any steps to boost the economy. I'm sorry. It shows that if we never took any steps to boost the economy, we would have faced a decade of double-digit unemployment. So I guess that's Baker does say the distinction may be too subtle for people who write on economics for a living, but most of the public understands the difference. Okay. So we would have gotten double-digit unemployment without the Wall Street bailout, but even if we didn't do anything, we still have double digits. So it didn't matter. The banks get saved, but everybody else is still losing their jobs. And I guess the way you mitigate that is that those big fines that they should have been charged and the jail time that they would have been imposed would have kicked down to the people that lost their jobs because of the bubble collapsing. But that didn't happen. That went to bonuses so that those guys could stay out of jail and continue doing what they're doing. The record of failure continued into the recovery. Most economists believed that we would see a quick bounce back from the crash. even without any exceptional amounts of government stimulus. Well, workers in the United States are now just getting back to their pre-recession levels of income. And this is a recurrent... Okay. And so this brings us to the story of men who don't work. There are many economists who argue that the economy is now fully employed, and it is time for the Federal Reserve Board to raise interest rates to slow the economy and the rate of job growth. Wow, that's nice. People don't want to work, Wink. So we're doing so great. Let's just,
Yeah, let's slow things down.
But let's blame people for not working.
Right.
Okay. While the unemployment rate is relatively low, those of us who are opposed to the Fed rate hikes point out that millions of prime age workers aged 25 to 54 have dropped out of the labor force and not counted as unemployed. These people likely would be working if the economy created jobs. Would that be nice? Okay, so, of course, they also disregard women in that prime age group who also are not being counted. All right. In other words, our leading economists had no clue about what was going on in the economy at the time of the crash. They got the recovery completely wrong, and they still don't have a clue today. But they are good at making up stories about the lack of marketable skills of less educated workers. That's the way it should be. All right. This next story is out of Think Progress by Kira Lerner. According to a new White House report, many of the forensics commonly used in criminal trials are not based on legitimate science, but the Attorney General and top U.S. prosecutors have decided they will continue relying on them anyway. In the report released on Tuesday, the President Council of Advisors on Science and Technology questioned the scientific validity of numerous types of forensics frequently used by U.S. prosecutors, including the analysis of bite marks, shoe prints, hair samples, tool marks, and firearms, which have sent hundreds of innocent people to prison. Yeah, well, tool mark. This tool mark, there's only one kind of way that this tool can make a mark. Then it turns out later that some other piece of evidence that's predicated upon science exonerates the guy.
Right.
Okay. Specifically, the report found that bite mark analysis does not meet the specific standards for foundational validity, that there are no appropriate empirical studies to support the validity of footwear analysis, and that microscopic hair examination is not valid or reliable. The report didn't go as far as advising re-examination of past cases that relied on these forensics. Too bad for them. But it did recommend that the Attorney General direct attorneys to stop using the discredited science that has led to false convictions. So why wouldn't they? I don't understand it. Immediately, Attorney General Loretta Lynch released a statement indicating she would ignore the recommendations. We remain confident that when we rub the magic sticks together, and that when we have an intuition about the guilt or innocence of a suspect, that takes precedent over actual empirical studies that determine whether that's true or not. I think that's what she's saying.
Something like that, yeah.
Adopting their recommendations would have a devastating effect on the ability of law enforcement, prosecutors, and the defense bar to fully investigate their cases, exclude innocent suspects, implicate the guilty, and achieve true justice at trial. I don't understand. If it's junk science, how does it do that? Okay. And then prosecutors, of course, are also up in arms about that. And, well, I don't know. I guess it seems to work. Though the idea is to have science behind it, isn't it?
Yeah, I would think, yeah.
And I think that, you know why lie detector tests are not admitted in court? Because it's not backed up by the science. That is why. But they always try to get around that, right?
Oh, yeah, they do, yeah.
Okay, well, I always say that we're here 5 days a week for an hour-ish. Because we have a little bit of padding before Hartman starts. But we better get out of here. And it's Thursday. And that means there's continues to be some fantastic, great content throughout the rest of the day. In fact, there's fantastic, great content 24/7, 365 on Netroots Radio. So stay tuned. And why do we do that? Well, of course, because who loves you, baby? Okay, Wink. I will see you on the other side.
All right. We're out.